Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. My name is Nancy Atlas, and I live in Montauk, New York right now, although I've lived in every single hamlet out here. I've been in Montauk for 15 years now. We are at the Stephen Talk House, which is where I became a professional musician. It is really kind of the mecca for original live music on the East End. So it's an incredible community center as well. I had a show, I believe it was January 27th, 2020, at Bay Street Theater actually, and we had a 12-piece choir. It was a complete and utter extravaganza, and in hindsight, I guess it was a wonderful way to go out. But our band was really just at the height of what we were doing. The trajectory of where our band was with our music was just going higher and higher and higher, and then all of a sudden it was like, so yeah, it was fitting that we would have a 12-piece choir and Danny Keene and, about 20 people on stage. I have a winter break usually. I get out of it. I live here 11 months out of the year, and then I go to Ecuador for a month. And I remember traveling through JFK on March 6th, and no one was wearing masks, and no one was wearing gloves in JFK. And I remember thinking to myself, because I had just left Ecuador, which had been taking their fever, and I remember literally thinking to myself, we are screwed. We are screwed. Because it was the gateway. New York is the gateway to the world. So then the next night, I actually met, my friend of mine had a show, and we went there, and I said, this is going to be the last show for a long time. And they were all having, oh, it's not going to. I said, no, trust me. I think the pandemic was brutal for musicians. We live in a very transient art form. So if you take a fine artist, for example, they work and they have their painting and you see it, yeah? With live music and performance art, the real experience is in real time. You can film it and you can try to capture it, but the real power of music is in the moment of its creation, where you feel the tingle of your hairs, or somebody hits that note, or where that's the magic happens. The world was on fire with politics and with so many different things. And while it's not the first time that the world has been on fire, or I would say the United States, if you look back at Vietnam and you look back at the 40s or the Depression, you always had music there. You always had live music to come into the room and for people to sit down next to each other. And you don't say, are you a Democrat? Are you a Republican? Are you this? Are you that? No. But you didn't have that live music to just take an edge off. It just relieves the pressure. The pressure cooker is always going to be there, but it just relieves a little bit of that pressure. And I think one of the hardest parts about being a professional musician was not being able to do our craft when we were needed most. My creativity was put on hold because I have 3 children. I made a joke on New Year's Eve. I was doing a stream and I said, I might have died because I can't make music and I'm teaching first grade math. I may have died and gone to hell. There is a chance that I might be dead. I don't know what happened, but that's how it felt. I know a lot of people that were incredibly prolific and welcomed the period, but I also know a large amount of my closest friends were numb. We were numb. We just couldn't move. So it was a lot of, what do? You take care of things that you can. For me, it was the consistency of having dinner every night for the kids, doing my best. So yeah, it was a doozy. Feeling Good, which Nina Simone sings. And man, I was singing that song every day. She's the one that's best known for it. And, it took a moment and I couldn't stop singing it to the point where I came to the band and I said, I think I want to do this. And you know, to tackle something that Nina Simone sings is quite ballsy. But I'll tell you, when I sing it, every single time I sing it for the last 6 months, I sing it with every ounce of my heart. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze. What is the one? I mean, the first thing that pops into my head is love. I mean, look at those doctors and nurses that were on the front lines. I mean, so many of them died. And, you know, so many people were saying that there was such, you know, animosity and that divided. I never saw it that way. I mean, I didn't agree with everybody. But when I walked out and I saw people wearing their masks, to me, that said, I care enough about you. That's why I wore it. Because, see, I lost 7 people to the pandemic. I lost 7 very real friends. And so if putting a piece of cloth over my face prevented myself or prevented one person from getting sick, I was willing to do that. I saw an enormous amount of compassion and love in our community. I saw people raising money for people that didn't have it. I saw people getting coat drives for people that were cold. I saw people giving people money that needed it. It was brutal and trying, and I hope we don't ever have to go through that again. But I still have faith in the human species. And I still believe that love at the end of the day will get us through. I do. Maybe I'm an optimist. I'm not, but I do believe in love. So, it's a new day. It's a new life for me. Ooh.